Alrighty, welcome back, everyone, to the Second Take podcast. My name is Casey. I'm here with my co-host, Alex, once again.
What's up, everybody? It's Alex. Welcome back. Sorry for the long hiatus. We had a couple unfortunate stretches of sickness, snow, and unfortunately some time off from school here as we had an entire week off due to snow.
Entire week off. This whole studio's been closed for, past 2 weeks?
Yeah,
3 weeks?
We've had
It's
some
been crazy.
technical difficulties, but we are back, and we're so happy to be back with another episode.
Yeah, and, as we've said before, for those who might be new here, we are part of the George Washington Sports Business Association, and you can find anything you need on our Instagram, which is GWU SBA, or through our link tree, which you can look up online. And we do have a big conference coming up, the Sync Conference, on February 27th and 28th. It is a massive conference with over 100+ industry professionals coming. For anyone looking to get involved in the sports industry, looking for internships, looking to just connect with people, this is the best place to do it. So if you are in the DC area, I highly recommend that you take a look and consider signing up and volunteering.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. We unfortunately missed possibly one of the most crucial periods of time in sports.
Yeah.
Which is why we're so
NFL playoffs, the most
Yeah.
important stretch. So many good games, but here we are.
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting predictions on this previous one. We had Alex and Ryan on as our guests. That unfortunately we will hope to revisit in a later episode. But for now, it seems most prudent to talk about the most recent game, the one you're probably tuning in to hear our thoughts about, which is the Super Bowl. Seattle taking the victory, 29-13, a result that I kind of expected. If anything, this game was a little closer than I thought it should have been. But what a milestone for Sam Darnold, a guy who you have been so outspoken about, even since the start of this year, the start of this podcast as a Jets fan.
Yep.
How does it kind of feel to see Sam Darnold, even though not donning the Jets green, kind of break through this milestone in his career and really just be who you thought he could be?
Look, I'm happy for Sam. I'm beyond. I can't even put in words how happy I am for Sam Darnold. I mean, he is my favorite player in the league that's not on the Jets currently. But I'm not gonna lie, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be so good with the Jets. I thought he had all the tools when he was there. We did not put the pieces around him, and see him go out there and have back-to-back 14-win seasons. Now he's a Super Bowl champion, and it's not with us, and it hurts. It really does hurt because there's all this discourse about the Patriots have rebuilt twice, won a Super Bowl, and made the Super Bowl again in the times the Jets have been rebuilding. And then on the other side, you have, and they're playing the Jets quarterback. You can't escape the headlines.
Right.
And on top of that, you have, in this stretch as well, you have Dante Moore going back to college to not play for the Jets.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it's about, honestly. I have no doubt in my mind that is why he went back.
Right.
It was a tough loss to Indiana, yes, but all that stuff going on. Actually, I'll just stop myself here. We don't need a Jets rant. Great game by Seattle. I mean, their defense, this is one of the best I've seen in years. And, you take a look at the last 3 Super Bowls. Seahawks had the first-ranked defense. Eagles were, I think, first as well last year. Chiefs were second when they won a couple years back. I mean, defense is back. It's on the forefront. QBs aren't winning games like they used to. Not that, it's not important. You take, C.J. Stroud, for example.
Yeah.
But, defenses are really at the forefront. And the team that Mike McDonald, or not McDonald, who's their GM? Is it John Lynch? No, that's Niners.
I'm blanking.
Whoever it is. Either way, he built an outstanding squad. The way they turned their team around from last year, just retooled both sides of the ball. Super impressive. I think McDonald, I want to call him a top 3 coach in the league right now. I mean, that team listens to him. They rally behind him.
You gotta.
And the offense made plays when it did. I mean, Kenneth Walker looked great. They better extend him because the fact that he was even splitting with Zach Charbonnet is ridiculous. Kenneth Walker is very, very good. And I'm glad that people finally got to see that on a big stage. And I think they just run it back. I hate the Patriots, but, I think that it was just a little bit too early ahead of schedule. I think they'll be pretty good, sadly. But what are your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with most of what you say, and especially on the Sam Darnold point. I mean, it's not easy. It's kind of bittersweet. I mean, you love seeing guys on, your team that couldn't really figure it out with the team that you grew up watching, go out to succeed. It's kind of bittersweet to see them do it somewhere else, but still, it's a beautiful story.
It is.
For Sam Darnold. To touch on some other points you brought up, Kenneth Walker, I mean, what a fantastic football player. And I feel like a lot of people have known this all season. He was just being held back by a pretty odd, workhorse split between him and Charbonnet, even though Charbonnet is a fantastic football player. It's maybe fantastic. I would say fantastic in his role. And I think
scoring from the one, he's good at that.
he can maybe thrive somewhere else. But I have worries that Kenneth Walker might be a little bit outpriced this offseason, especially there are some teams that I could see, being willing to pay that probably 4-year, $80-something million contract.
Probably, dude. Running backs are getting paid
If
now.
not-
They've been
if
getting
not
paid.
more.
Ever since, I feel like Saquon kind of started that. This
Right.
past offseason, all of them are getting big bags.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Saquon got a humongous contract and a lot of it guaranteed too, which is, a kind of contingency you're worried about with running backs due to the, I guess just the injury prone nature of a lot of these guys and, the workhorse roles they're forced to sustain. But I could see him, I think the Seahawks would be stupid not to bring him back, but seeing as a lot of their other pieces are going to get outsourced, from other places, that's kind of what happens with Super Bowl teams. Teams will pick these small little contributors and pay them lots of money to bring that winning experience in. Mm-hmm. You see that with every Super Bowl team, and even
CJ
teams that don't.
Johnson.
Exactly.
First one that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's a great one, and then he ended up coming back. But I think they would be very, very smart to bring him back. I do think another team's going to pay him a lot of it. A team that comes to mind is maybe the Saints.
Yeah. I've been seeing that.
Which is a great one. Or I could see that maybe the Chiefs looking to really get some spark in the building and bring in a huge free agent addition.
It's tough because I don't know if they're going to do that or bank on Jeremiah Love.
I think
they want
right?
Love. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, I think they're fine. Chiefs defense was good this year. I mean, the thing with the Chiefs this year was just they didn't win close games like they did last year. That was kind of it. But they need to read to on offense badly. Yeah. The line wasn't that big of an issue, but I think Kenneth Walker will stay just because he won the chip there. He's been there his whole career, and I don't know. At least for me, obviously I'm not in the NFL, but I find it hard to walk away from the team that you just won a Super Bowl with. I mean, it depends on the size of the contract, of course. I find it tough to walk away, but who knows what will happen with that? Also, Drake May, you suck. You suck. You're not good. I was saying all playoffs, you put up 10 points against the Broncos, did not play that well against the Texans. Chargers, you played fine, but I didn't see it. I saw a mic'd up clip of the Super Bowl. I think it was Julian Love, the guy who picked him off the first time. He's on the sideline, talking about how when Drake May leans on that back foot, he's about to throw, but he kind of has that quick hesitation to see if he's open, and I saw that all game. I mean, it didn't help that Will Campbell was just getting trampled. He was awful, but. I think the Patriots will be in contention in the AFC for the next couple of years, but does Drake May have it?
Yeah,
does Drake May have it? What do you think?
I'm conflicted because I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's really blossoming. I just think that at the end of the day, the Patriots are just way too early. And I think the major mistake that, even though I absolutely love Mike Vrabel, I think he's an incredible coach, and I would honestly give him just a tad bit more credit for the Patriots turnaround than Drake May, even though I think they're the two, major contributors to that turnaround. Mm-hmm. I think his biggest mistake was not riding that kind of explosive offense that they took into the game, because I mean, they should have realized that they were playing with house money. And I know you don't want to give turnovers. That's the easiest way to lose a game. But I feel like, any offense they generated this game came in the fourth quarter when they were really just putting the ball downfield. And to come out with a conservative look against a team that has consistently outperformed every offense, not even on defense, but just offense for offense has outperformed most teams in the league this year. To come out with that conservative game plan, I feel like they just kind of doomed themselves from the start. So I wouldn't necessarily put all this on Drake May. He's a second-year quarterback in the Super Bowl. I didn't expect him to play that well, but I think we should pump our brakes on the Patriots a little bit. I know we talked about the schedule. They still did win the playoff games to go to the Super Bowl. That shouldn't be discredited, but this was one of the easier, playoff paths to the Super Bowl in recent memory.
Do you see what they're calling him?
No, what are they calling him?
The Schedule.
The Schedule.
That's his nickname.
That's pretty
I think
funny.
it's a great nickname.
Yeah. I
think Alex Morrison, I hope you're listening. You got the schedule for the next 10 years.
Right. Yeah. So I do think Drake May is a fantastic player. I think we need to pump our brakes on the Patriots. They will be fine. The good news is, unlike the Commanders, who ran to the NFC Championship and then immediately just invested in these one-year veterans around him, the Patriots have just spent so much money this offseason in long-term free agency additions that the turnover on the roster really isn't going to be that crazy, given that Stephon Diggs isn't behind bars.
Should be.
Which he should be. But that being said, I would tell Patriots fans, just keep your head up. I mean, obviously you've had so much good fortune in your lifetime of existence, assuming you're not 10 years old. But this is, a promising young team, and I feel like a lot of people would trade, having championship-winning rosters for young teams that have so much space to develop. And I think that's kind of the beauty of the NFL, that a team like the Patriots can go all the way. And I'd say give the Seahawks a run for their money.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Pats' defense looked great.
Yeah.
Like, they were getting big stops. I mean, what? It was 6-0 at halftime, I believe?
Right, exactly.
9-0?
Yeah, it was 9-0.
And that was because Kenneth Walker was making great plays. I mean, they lost, the battle in the trenches. Like, the Seahawks O-line played great. They created holes for Kenneth Walker. He was very patient, got them downfield when he needed to. And then, I mean, moving the ball downfield, like, it was all basically Cooper Kupp. Like, no one else really, I can't remember anyone else having, like, key, like, third down or touchdown contributions besides Kupp and Barner. And I'm happy for Kupp, man.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer? I don't know, because he's only had 1 year, I'm pretty sure.
It's hard. It's hard because I feel like with Hall of Fame, there's an idea of longevity that he doesn't, even though he's been a quality receiver his entire career, he's really only has that one incredible, which was unbelievable, probably a top 3 wide receiver season of all time that culminates in a Super Bowl. And now he's got 2 rings under his belt. I wouldn't say this itself is enough to push him into contention, because I don't know if he even topped like 600 or 700 yards this year. I could be lying. But I wouldn't say he's a Hall of Famer just yet, just based on the criteria that exists for current people. I mean, who knows who will get into the Hall of Fame now that Bill Belichick isn't.
Yeah, that's
in.
crazy. That's crazy.
But as of right now, I would say he needs maybe a little more juice down the end of his career to maybe push him into those conversations.
I think if he gets to 10K or 10,000 yards receiving, I think he'll get in, but it's tough. But anyways, moving on to another team that is quite fraudulent. 49ers lost by 35 to the Seahawks team. I did not see that coming, like, at all. I think it was a little bit of a fluke because, then the Rams come out and give them like a very, very close game. Right. But I was not impressed with what I saw from the 49ers that day.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, they're injured. It feels like they're injured every year, granted.
I mean, they are, yeah.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan is just, I would say he's probably the best coach in football right now. I don't know if that's insane to say.
I would say McVay, but, I honestly think it's those 3 NFC West coaches.
I think they're, like, right there with each other.
I think it's...
I did not expect coming into this year, even though I had at the start of the year the Rams as my new Super Bowl champions, I did not expect the NFC West, like, holistically to be so insanely good.
Yeah.
Even the Cardinals are not as bad as their record indicates. Like, they have the potential to be so much better. Like, this could be, I guess, the equivalent of the NFC North this year if the Vikings weren't so terrible. But, like, a team that we could, or a division we could expect all teams to get, like, at least 9 wins. That's kind of crazy. So I really look forward to seeing a lot of this NFC West next year. But as for the 49ers, I'm a little worried. There's, the pattern with Christian McCaffrey, healthy season, injured season. Yep. Can he kind of break that mold? Especially, I mean, he had Achilles tendonitis in 2 legs. I've never seen, like, a symmetric injury on both sides of the body like that. That is unbelievable that he was able to play following that.
Yeah.
And have this incredible season that he did. I think 2K scrimmage yards at least. But I think there's going to be turnover with Ayuk. That receiver core is honestly, I'm just going to say it's abysmal.
Ayuk's gone. Did you see the headlines that he's out? He just, like, hasn't been showing up.
Yeah.
Like, they asked Shanahan about it. They're like, we haven't heard from him in, like, months. He just, like, has left.
He's been done. But he is such a quality player. Like,
he is. He was so good. And then he got his bag, and then he was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's something.
It's sad to see.
Yeah, it's something other teams should be worried about this free agency, but I think he could seriously be a weapon for, I hate to say, a team like the Patriots could really launch themselves back in that conversation with a guy like him. I mean, he's just a pure route technician.
I think, I'm not going to lie, I think he's done. Like, I don't think any team's going to want to
pick
him up after. I mean, have you ever heard of a player just leaving, like, just not showing up for months, and then he goes on to have, like, a good, like, end of it, like continuation, I guess, of his career after that?
No.
I haven't heard of that.
It's hard.
Speaking of bad continuation of their career, Jalen Hurts, you also suck. I know. I kind of just want to throw that out there. But we're seeing new stuff about AJ Brown. I was just talking about with Alex before the podcast. Jason Kelsey hopped on and said that AJ Brown lets his, like, internal frustrations get to his head and impacts his play, and in turn makes the offense worse. And I know you're gonna point fingers at the OC, but I mean, the proof's kind of in the pudding. All year he was causing problems. They'd win games. He'd be like, "I'm not happy. I don't get the ball. They're gonna feed me."
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is gonna go on with the Eagles this offseason?
It's hard, and I'm holding out hope, right? Because all I've preached once, it was pretty clear through the midseason that this team wasn't going anywhere except another embarrassing loss in the playoffs. That I had faith that we were going to complete the cycle, which is have an amazing year, kind of get stripped down the next year with a terrible first year play caller, do disastrously. But the kind of vibe that came out of the locker room in 2023 was like these guys are so angry at what happened last year, and then they all channeled that into the next season. And then that was the Super Bowl year. So it feels a little different this year, granted. But, that also works in different ways. Like in 2023, we didn't have this elite defense. We didn't have anything good in 2023. And this year we came out with an incredible defense, even though, Vic Fangio tried to escape and they had to beg him. I don't know if you heard about this.
I did.
They had to beg him to come back, and he did, which is never a good sign.
No.
Jeff Stoutland's on his way out. And the Eagles have hired another first-year play caller, this guy, Sean Mannion, who was playing quarterback in 2023, only coached for 2 years with the Packers. It's another risky move for the Eagles that really need to figure it out. But I'm always going to be on A.J. Brown's side. I think what he did this year was inexcusable because, as a leader of this team, you really need to just kind of get over it. And then to complain and then not perform in the playoffs, I can't excuse that. But for A.J. Brown, I know what he's been able to do. I know he's outspoken because he's a leader and he cares about this team. And it's honestly, it probably could have been so much worse given what was happening behind the doors.
Yeah.
Like, I just think other players on the team weren't as outspoken because they didn't care as much as him. I know that's probably like the most copy, embarrassing way to think about this because it's probably not true. But I think the Eagles would be stupid to trade A.J. Brown. I don't think they will. And I think it's just kind of a big media narrative that's used to keep the Eagles in the mainstream media, even though there's really not much to talk about with them right now other than these kind of trade narratives that I don't think are going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And then I'm taking a look at the bracket right now. I know we discussed the wild card rounds in our last one, but looking at the teams that are in the divisional, the final 8, I think, you look at teams like, obviously the Seahawks and Pats, they'll be fine. I think the Broncos have, a good road ahead of them. I think the Bears are looking outstanding, honestly. I think the Bears could possibly get the 1 seed next year if, the Seahawks lose a couple key guys. Rams are fine. A little bit of an aging roster. That window's kind of closing. The team that I think, needs a massive overhaul, I think you know who I'm talking about, the Houston Texans. What do they do with C.J. Stroud? Because I, throughout this year, I've, kept my, opinion high on C.J. Stroud. I'm like, he's having a down year. He'll pick it up. He just needs time for, the offense to gel, blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud, you really suck. I was, I'm kind of kidding around with the other two guys. He's awful. I mean, that game against the Patriots, that was one of the worst quarterback performances I have ever seen. That's up there with, Peterman's, 7 picks. That's up there with Fitzpatrick's 5 picks. That was atrocious. And I don't really know what they can do because they extended him, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't
check because there's that's very crucial to how they should address him going forward.
So they have not extended him.
So
I don't think they will.
Yeah. So he's entering his 4th year on the contract, and as we know, quarterbacks or players who are drafted in the first round get an extra 5th year as a team option. So I think the Texans would be stupid to not at least give him this 1 more year because he's shown you enough in the regular season and in previous playoffs. He's won, I think, multiple playoff games. If not one, he's won 2.
He's won. I think 3. He's won 1 every year.
Yeah, 2 to 3, right?
Yeah.
I think he's been, good enough to warrant that 4th year, and then you have that 5th year team option as kind of, a branch to extension if he plays it well. It really breaks my heart because to see a guy, I wouldn't rush to say peak, but it's certainly starting to trend towards that. That rookie season was so magical.
Magical.
I was sitting on my couch watching. It was his 5 passing touchdown game. I don't remember who they played, but just being like, oh my god, this kid is unbelievable. And I had him on fantasy, and I dropped him the last round. I felt like a genius. Now I'm not so much feeling like a genius for touting C.J. Stroud all these years. It's just he has a lot of issues with decision making. He can't really hang with a lot of the guys in the league in terms of arm power. But as accuracy, the interceptions aside, the first couple years, that's what I saw, the accuracy, the poise. And he is good with the ball in his hands. So there's nothing to say that the Texans couldn't figure this out. I just think there was so much kind of turnover during the year, like Nico Collins basically being out every other week.
Yeah.
That's something that keeps you from kind of building that rapport with your offense and then the offensive line as well. So to kind of answer your question, it's a long-winded way to say that, but I think you got to give CJ Stroud another run. Worst case scenario, you let him walk in free agency. If he's great, you have a 5th-year option of eligibility. Extend, you take that option, another year of maybe the not most expensive quarterback in the league on your books, and then you can extend him after if you feel like he's the guy of the future.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because they have the best defense in the league. It's better than the Seahawks defense, in my opinion. Like, it's close. They're both amazing units, but like Texans defense is absurdly good. But you got Will Anderson coming up for an extension. You have guys on contracts that are going to expire soon. Aziz Al-Shaair, yeah. Him, Daniil Hunter, Stanley's got to get paid soon. Like, they got to take care of these guys. And, once CJ Stroud, whether it's him or say they bring in like a Kyler Murray, for example, like they kind of got to rebuild that whole other side of the ball because then you have that huge, probably, 50 to 55 million like cap hit on your hands. And then, that's when things start to get serious. I don't really know how they can bring themselves back into relevancy. I think that the Jaguars might have this division for the next couple of years, if I'm being honest. Texans are in a bad spot. I would not want to be a Texans fan right now.
No, it's hard, I imagine. But, I mean, that defense, just thinking about the D-line of Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, it's the most
terrifying,
disgusting front in the league.
Gross.
That's why it's such a shame that the Texans go out because Stroud throws 4 interceptions. They can't get anything
in the first
going on
half.
offense. They don't have to.
The first half.
Exactly. They don't have to, beat the other team. They just have to not lose because their defense is so unbelievable. And I feel like once the Texans really realize that and then make this offense just good enough to win them games, I think they could be relevant next year. But, I mean, now you have the Jaguars that are looking insane. So this was such a huge opportunity for them. I mean, I had them in the Super Bowl, going into the playoffs. And to go out to the Patriots, I think is just such a disappointment.
Such a disappointment. Speaking of another team I'm disappointed in, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm that concerned about them, but, like, I'm very glad they fired McDermott. Yeah. Well, not as a Jets fan, no, but, like, we suck. We're not going to do anything. Like, this is another rebuild year. It's, whatever. But I don't think McDermott was the coach for that team. I think he's a good leader. I think he's a good coach. Speaking of which, I don't think he got hired in this coaching cycle.
No, I don't think.
I was surprised about that.
I'm sure it's possible that he could have a position somewhere else that just kind of flies under the radar of like the reporting. But no, he's gone, and they've upgraded Joe Brady to head coach, which
I like that move. I like keeping it internal.
Really.
I think they have the right culture there. I think McDermott's decision making and their GM has not surrounded Allen with the right weapons at all. I mean, his number one receiver the past couple of years has been Khalil Shakir. And, like, not that he's bad, but he's not wide receiver 1. I mean, if they had someone, like, who's even, like, top 20, I think they win that game against the Broncos. I think they go to the Super Bowl, and they could win. Yeah. But they don't have, like, that guy. I mean, we talked about it all season. Like, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, the Emerald City Outdoors. Like, you need that number one guy that you can go to when you need a third down conversion, when you need a play in crunch time. And the Bills do not have that guy. And they still put up 30 points because Josh Allen's a magician, but like they need to address that. It is by far the biggest gap on, I think, any like contending team in the league right now. Yeah. I've never seen such a pure like neglect for like skill position players. I don't really understand why.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. And I'll give Bills fans a little, and I guess the organization itself, a little bit of break because I really hated the way this game ended. Just purely from a fan standpoint, an overtime playoff game always has the chance to be, electric and an ending for everyone to remember. And it just ended up being boring and lame and ruined by penalties that I didn't think were penalties. And then obviously with the Bo Nix injury that just rendered the AFC Championship basically useless. I would give Bills fans a little bit of grace in that regard, but otherwise it's been year after year after year after year of saying this is the Bills' chance. And the one thing that you could kind of give Josh Allen grace for was that there's Mahomes in the playoffs, or maybe there's Lamar, or there's Burrow. None of those three guys were in the playoffs this year.
Yep.
So to not go to the AFC Championship, I think I said on this podcast as well, this exact sentence. If they don't make it to the AFC Championship, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And this is just a frustrating loss because the Broncos were not a better team than the Bills.
No.
I understand it's a hard, home environment. That Denver probably has one of the hardest home environments in the entire league. But we come to it again and again on this podcast. It's probably, our quote at this point is you got to have a guy you could turn to. And when it's just Josh Allen, I hate to say it, he loses you games. As much as he will win you games in the playoffs, sometimes it's enough, just like the Seahawks did this year, just like the Eagles did last year, to not lose your team the game. To me, that is more important.
Yeah.
And to have those reliable threats, so guys like Josh Allen, especially Lamar, I see the same pattern in the playoffs, the same guy who hasn't really succeeded in the playoffs. When they're just expected to just take the ball and make a play, it just doesn't work. And I don't know if they can do that in the draft this year. I expect they're picking somewhere in like the mid-20s. Maybe you could pick up a receiver. I think they'd be better off going out into the market and trying to find a guy. Maybe like I doubt there could be an in-division trade, but you could find a guy on a struggling team, like maybe like a Garrett Wilson.
No.
Or God forbid an AJ
We're
Brown.
never trading him. We can't if we trade him.
But they've got to get a receiver just to take some offensive game planning pressure off of Josh Allen, because it's a one-dimensional offense and no one on that team is. They have the contributors, they're just missing that centerpiece.
Yeah, I agree. And shifting gears real quick, I just want to touch briefly on the NBA. I mean, it's middle of the season before All-Star break. Standings are still kind of neck and neck, at least in the West. The East is like basically the same as it was. A lot of trades, a lot of, well, I'd say fines, but like you saw the Jazz and Pacers got fined, right? For roster.
What for specifically? Oh, for tanking?
Yeah, I mean they benched Jaren Jackson and Lauri Markkanen 2 nights in a row in the fourth quarter in like tight games.
That was disgusting.
I mean,
I saw that.
It's gross, and they get fined $100,000. Like that's not doing anything. That's a like multi-billion-dollar organization.
It's a tap on the wrist.
It's a tap on the wrist. It's like throwing like, I don't even know, like a grain of rice at somebody. There's no point. So I think it's disgusting. I also have Pascal Siakam and Jaren Jackson in fantasy.
Oh, that's hard.
So I don't know. That's kind of gross to see, but like it's a really good draft class. I understand, but looking at like the trades that have happened, like so many roster shakeups, and I think one team that I think the team that confused me the most actually is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah,
going out and getting Trae Young, Anthony Davis, in theory, sounds like a great combination. I really feel like they jumped the gun on their rebuild. I mean, they have good young players that can contribute. Kaishan George, Alex Sarr, like they have a good. It's not a great core, but the pieces are there. I think they kind of jumped the gun. I mean, this team can't compete with a team like the Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're going to, say they get AJ DeBanza this year, then, it's a different story.
Right.
But, I mean, I was kind of baffled by that. I mean, Davis, like, I think his days are done. I think he's going to retire in the next 3 to 4 years. He's not even that old, but I mean, he cannot stay healthy. And at a certain point, he's going to be like, all right, I need to take a step back, focus on my long-term health. I don't think Trae Young really cares that much about basketball anymore, if I'm being honest. Like, he does not seem like that into it. He's also not like a winning player. He's flashy. He puts up a lot of points. He's a great playmaker, but he lets up just as many on defense. Yeah. And, you have another small guard like Kaishan George. You have Bilal Coulibaly, who's a good defender, but I mean, I don't know how they're going to make that roster work when they already have all these guards and they have a very ball-dominant point guard and, a power forward who can't stay healthy. So I don't know. It's baffling stuff.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except I'll push back on one point. I went to a Wizards-Bucks game, and Trae Young was on the bench. He was rocking a Wizards jersey on the bench. He was? So I might push back on that. Okay. He might actually love Wizards basketball, and he actually requested to be traded there, which I couldn't possibly fathom why anybody would want to do that. But yeah, I think you hit it right on the mark there. They're absolutely just jumping past their rebuilds. I know the Wizards haven't been relevant since John Wall, which the game I went to was also John Wall Legacy Night, which is pretty awesome. But it's just been, the trade deadline was definitely mind-boggling for me, obviously for other reasons that I won't discuss on this podcast regarding certain moves that my team made. But
I think the Sixers looking all right.
I don't want to. Let's not talk about the Sixers. But yeah, I just think in theory, if you were to remove injuries and all of the the unpredictable stuff from basketball out of it, Trae Young and AD is a super fun combo. Yeah. And if you live in DC or if you go to GW, I advise you to go to the Wizards season opener next year so you can watch them play together, because it'll probably be
you'll get AD for maybe a quarter and a half.
The only time they play together. Yeah. I honestly could see AD retiring even sooner. His value in this league has plummeted. I mean, the return was basically nothing. I could be wrong, but I believe the picks that Washington sent out just weren't really worth anything. Like, they're just super round, like late round picks that could end up, conveying as basically second round picks. I just think he's done. Yeah. He's so talented. It's such a shame, but he's just, big men already come fragile in this league. That's just, the anatomy of 7-foot players. It's just easier to injure. But Anthony Davis especially just hasn't shown it. And Trae Young, I still think is such a quality basketball. I was disgusted at the trade for him. It was basically a swap for C.J. McCollum. Then you just throw in Corey Kispert for salary. Like, that was a disgustingly low price for Trae Young, who I still think is a quality player, and I think that'll kind of reinvigorate Washington. But they'll really have to get a high pick in the lottery this year to justify any of these moves, because they really jumped the gun on trading some picks and, players for both Davis. And they traded A.J. Johnson, who I like. I know he didn't get minutes, but, like, trading your young pieces for Anthony Davis,
it's just,
regardless
I
of,
really
the value to value,
really
it's just disgusting. I don't really understand. The Wizards are trying to rush the rebuild, and that's just going to end up ruining the entire process.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some pressure to compete now just because of how bad they've been the past few years. Another trade that baffled me was Jaren Jackson to the Jazz. It's not as baffling because, honestly, the deal wasn't that bad. I actually thought they got him for a pretty good price. It was kind of a confusing trade just because there were, I think, like 8 players involved.
Yeah.
7 players and, like, some second-round picks, I think a couple firsts. Either way, another kind of case of jumping the rebuild. I don't really know why they did that, especially when, obviously, I'm sure Lauri Markkanen's on his way out. He has no role in that team anymore. They've been benching him in fourth quarters. They just announced Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for the year. Of course he is. They're staking their future on getting a top 3 pick this year. And, if it works out, it works out. But I don't know. I don't understand the fit exactly. I don't think they got a bad deal by any means, but who's going to run the 5? Yusuf Nurkic is not your center. That's not who you're going to be like, yeah, he could run the 5 for like a championship roster. No, he's not. And then, Lauri Markkanen, you'll probably get a pretty good deal for him. But, the longer you keep playing this card of like, we don't really want him, like, what are you going to get for him? Like, if you keep driving down his value because you're like, we just got Jaren Jackson, like, we're just not going to play Lauri Markkanen.
Right.
I feel like that's dipping his value. I don't think this is the right way to approach it. It's also unethical as hell. Like,
no,
it's ridiculous.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
I feel bad for if there are any Jazz fans listening. I'm so sorry. I wonder if there are any of you left. But yeah, the first thing I saw was like, I don't hate the value for value, but just why for Utah? This just makes no sense. To answer your question, they probably envision Walker Kessler at center, but like he's basically he's an incredible defender, but he's kind of a non-factor on offense. He's also just kind of a statue.
Yeah.
And then you put next to him Lauri Markkanen, he's been on the move for years now, and this is another season where they said that he was going to be moved. He didn't.
Nope.
Now you slot in Jaren Jackson. Now one of those guys is playing the 3, which is disgusting. And then you still want to give Ace Bailey minutes. And then with all 4 of those guys on the floor, you want to get, Keontae George, his shots.
He's tough. He's tough.
He's so good.
He's so good.
And if I were him, I'd be pissed.
I would be too.
I'd be like, this is my team. Like, I've been balling. I've been holding it down here. Like, Lauri Markkanen and we've been going crazy.
Me and Lauri.
And and then you just want to just bring it in and just jump the rebuilds. And to think they could add another guy in that power forward role, especially if they don't if they weren't to land Darren Peterson, the next immediate guys are Wilder and DeBonsa. That's another like power forward. The slot, it's just the fit is so clunky.
It is.
Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. are like, I know they're slightly different. They're practically the same. 6'10" unicorn stretch builds.
Can't
except
rebound to save their life.
Right. Lauri's a much better shooter, but
he is.
Triple J's obviously a DPOY contender almost every year. The fit is just so disgusting. And
I agree.
That makes me think that Lauri's going to get moved. But this is another trade deadline past. Another year of Lauri Markkanen just absolutely rotting in Utah.
He's got to be so pissed.
No, he's got to be so mad.
So pissed.
He's been building his trade value for years, and like, what has it done? Nothing.
They have pieces. I think Ace Bailey can be good. Keontae George is, I think, like 22, 21. Kyle Filipowski's been playing pretty well, but like, I kind of, like, that's not really moving the needle.
And they have Philip.
I don't know. I do think if they get a top 3 pick, they ship out Lauri for some good assets. I think they can make some noise, but it's just kind of tough to be bought in when they just don't do anything. There's no exciting moments. It's not like the Pistons where like they they had that 24 game losing streak, or was it like 28?
Yeah,
it was like whenever that was happening. Then you have then you have like
anything with it.
But then the back half of that season, they showed flashes of like this team could be something. You just don't get that from the Jazz. You don't get that from the Wizards. Definitely don't get that. Like, I was gonna say the Pelicans, but no.
What a shame.
They also suck.
They really have some of the most fun pieces.
I don't understand how they're so bad.
Their team is so fun.
Derek Queen's great. Trey Murphy's great. Herb Jones is great. Zion Williamson, he's been healthier this year because they're only
Right.
giving him like 20, 25 minutes a game, but he's still putting up 20.
And Jordan Poole, what an insane 5. That's kind of crazy. I still
Jordan
think
Poole
he's
doesn't fit with that team, but I do think he is still good.
He doesn't fit, but what a 5. Why are they so bad?
I don't know.
There must be some, I'm not that tapped into New Orleans basketball. I won't lie, but I mean, Derek Queen has been incredible.
Yeah.
What can we revisit that now? Because I know in the NBA draft, a lot of people are like, wow, they took this kid high, especially with some questions about how he fits with the team. What a pick, though. I mean, they liked their guy and they took him. I thought that was a great. You can't say the same for the Trailblazers and Hanson Yang, who's in the G League right now. But to me, that's an example of they are brinkering on the one move, one draft pick is enough to set this team right.
It is. It really is. I also think there needs to be some sort of organizational just mauling because what was it? I think was it 3 years ago when they had the 8 seed and they took the. I'm blanking on exactly who they played. Oh, it was the Suns.
Right.
They played the Suns in that series when the Suns were really good. They won 60+ games. Whatever. They took them to 6.
Yeah.
That was a good team in a very competitive West. And then all of a sudden, I would argue they have a better roster now.
Yeah.
And they're awful. They've won 15 games. I mean, they're probably tanking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I don't know. That is a team I actually do think could make noise soon. But, once again, they haven't shown that flash. And real quick, just want to circle back on my Trailblazers take. They're 27-29. They've been hanging in there.
Yeah.
I had higher expectations. I expressed higher expectations, but, I'm pretty happy with that. They're in the play-in right now. They're ahead of the Clippers, who have been surging. They've been playing outstanding. I would not want to see them in the playoffs, especially with how. This is the best Kawhi has looked. I'd say outside of 2019.
Yeah, he's been absolutely balling. I mean, I'd worry about how the roster's been essentially stripped down him. I imagine that winning streak might come to an end soon. But yeah, I think we've both been pretty major proprietors of the Blazers this year. Yeah. And I think they have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. I think it's just some inconsistencies, and it's also a lot of reliance on this magical Denny Avdija whistle, which I have no idea. I mean, he's a quality player. We've sung his praises all year. And even before that, when he was in Washington, we were like, this guy's good. He should, get out of here. But even then, I feel like that's not a consistent way to really drive a team. But, I mean, there are so many teams in the NBA, like the Blazers and the Pelicans, that I feel like they're just on the brink. One more piece. Maybe Dame coming back next season is that piece for the Blazers. I feel like that kind of fits that team really well.
Is he not he's competing in the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
he not
He might be healthy. They might let him shoot, but I don't know if he's healthy to play full court basketball. But yeah, the Blazers are a team that it's even if you're a Blazers fan, maybe you're not expecting to win the chip this year. I mean, God, I'd be shocked if you were. But it's just kind of enjoying what you have now and the prospects of the future that keep you going. That's kind of 80% of the teams in the league that aren't really competing for a chip this year. That's kind of what keeps you going. So that's kind of what's the beauty of basketball. And that's why I'm so upset at some of these teams like the Jazz for ruining it. And with this blatant, obvious tanking.
It's awful.
They should really be punished.
Especially from the Pacers, man.
Terrible.
Pacers ridiculous.
But who made an awesome trade with the Zubats trade, I'll say, with the pick where it's if it falls between 5 and 10, it's theirs. Otherwise, it's the Clippers. Come on, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, the Pacers are going to be really good next year, honestly. It which pisses me off because I hate them. But I think with that, we can wrap it up. I just want to give a quick shout out, Charlotte Hornets. Good job, guys.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. You guys are fun. But with that, NBA season's in full swing, so we've kind of closed the book on NFL for now. I'm sure we'll swing back, for the draft, free agency, but get ready for some more NFL. We'll probably get some people on here who are into golf. If any of you out there are big golf people. And baseball starts in what, month and a half?
Yeah, it's so close. And
Pitchers and catchers just started. I'm pretty excited.
World Baseball Classic as well.
World Baseball Classic's coming up.
Olympics, all kinds of stuff.
I feel like the Mets are looking pretty good, so a lot to be excited for. So please stay tuned. Once again, thank you for listening. And if you need anything, you can find us at GWU SPA on Instagram or look up the George Washington Sports Business Association online.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
Have
Take
a great
care.
weekend.
All right.
Am I stupid?
Yeah.